I'm Rob Black. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called VOD Esports. The business is a tournament organizer, a broadcaster, and a solutions agency for IP holders, mainly based out of the UK. I used to work for ESL UK as the COO, and I'm here joined by Michelle Tierney from VOD Esports. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I would. So my name is Michelle Tierney, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer over at VOD Esports. I started back in July last year, and we've been going for kind of about a year and a half. Previous to that, I spent most of my career in sports sponsorship in a more traditional sense in terms of as an Arsenal football club for a very long time, and really saw the transition from quite a small stadium in terms of moving into a bigger stadium with Emirates, and realizing all the commercial opportunities and the diversification of products, etc., with the stadium move, and then really kind of moving from a location right the way through to how do we engage with our global fan base, and how do we then go and speak to them with brand partners and unearth where our audience is. So really kind of progressing from what was a big team to a global brand. Then I moved on to the wonderful world of player sponsorship, which was very interesting, but really helping football players monetize their social media audience, which, as we know, is incredibly important. And then here I am now in esports, and you know, today it's been a really exciting journey, and I just want to say, you know, I've been really welcomed by the community as well, which is brilliant, and I'm delighted to be here today.
Yeah, we're all a friendly bunch, I think, aren't we? Yeah. On the whole. So with esports moving from really being a subculture to becoming part of the mainstream zeitgeist of youth culture, how do Guild view the opportunities of the removal of that stigma moving forward?
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess first of all, we have to look at how we accelerate the removal of the stigma. And I guess you could say to a couple of billion people, there isn't really maybe a stigma, but it's how we educate the rest of the world and the audiences that maybe aren't so fair to the esports and gaming community. And I guess, you know, it would also have to start with key decision makers in brands that want to invest in this space. Sometimes we'll fall into the category of the people that we need to educate more about esports and gaming. And I think that's our job and our responsibility to make sure that when we're having our conversations with the non-endemic brands that want to get into this space, to really educate them and help them understand of how they need to build a relationship with the audience in order to help remove the stigma from this space, and really around highlighting the stories around players and their preparation, and how we can also help shine a light in terms of the kind of topics that our players and our content creators are addressing. So if we can do that, and a non-endemic brand can shine a light into esports and gaming, and the community will not only get behind the brand, but we kind of create a win-win-win triangle where the non-endemic brand has helped bridge the gap and give a kind of wider audience to help remove those stigmas. But then the community has also got a value add, and then Guild as a team will also benefit from that too.
And in terms of opportunities, I think something that you're quite keen to explore is brand ambassadors within the space.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, I mean, that's the kind of main reason that we worked with David in the first place, in terms of how can we help shine a light, as I said, on this space and start to help remove some of those stigmas. And actually we do that with David. We work with him across our academy. He kind of is the poster boy for academy, I guess you could say, in terms of his own experience at Tottenham and Manchester United, but then also the fact that he opened up his very first academy as a football player here in East London. So brand ambassadors are very, very important for us to make sure that we can start to bridge that gap to the non-endemic space that probably don't really know as much around esports and gaming.
We know that traditional esports audiences can sometimes be a bit resistant to change. How are Guild Esports going to continue to appeal to this sort of legacy audience or parts of esports that perhaps, look at some of the things that teams are doing and go, "Oh, that's not really authentic." How do you bridge that?
Yeah, I guess sometimes it's not actually resistance. It's more about consideration, and are they being considered? Like, they're the audience. They're the reason why we're here.
Yeah.
They've developed this space, this community, and they're also our future. So I guess if we're making short-term, kind of maybe not so clear decisions that could impact the long term of not only this space, but also the team that they want to follow, they've got every right to ask questions and kind of, so I won't call it resistance so much. I guess it's just, being more, making sure that we have the added beauty in this space to be able to talk to our community very regularly and have a great connection with them. That's something that in traditional sports is a lot harder because they're slightly more removed. So we need to make sure that there's a communication and it's a mutual understanding of what it is that they want from us, and also protect them from a smash and grab type of opportunities. So we need to make sure that we're also pushing brands that if they want to come into this space, that they're doing it for the long term. And it's not just to kind of dip their toes in, move back out again, and then what is the audience getting from that? What does the community get from that? So in order for us to make sure that it's getting the investment and the upscale of where the industry is going, we need to make sure that they are considered at all times, especially with our brand partnership conversations.
And so you mentioned about like that smash and grab side of things, and really that's kind of the epitome of treating the audience like a customer.
Yeah.
How are guilds going to sort of avoid falling into that pitfall?
Yeah, I think as soon as you start treating fans as transactional customers, you're going to lose them, right? And I think actually in traditional sense, some kind of leagues, teams have actually fallen into that trap, and actually they have lost their identity and they've lost their sense of community. So I think it's really important that you don't have that thinking. You don't really want to be upselling your fans all the time. You want to be value adding. So if you can question again, whether it's a decision that Guild make or whether it's a decision that our brand partners want to do, it must be trying to enhance the experience of the community. It's giving them something that they wouldn't been able to go and get themselves. If you can try and do that, then that is a kind of a great way of then people then want to start wearing your merch. People then might want to start coming to events, and you build it up that way rather than making them feel like a transactional customer.
That makes total sense. With other teams obviously diversifying as well, is there anything that has really stood out to you that other teams are doing globally that you've liked the look of? Yeah,
I mean, just last week, I think everyone would have seen it, but the collaboration with 100 Thieves and Little Nas, I absolutely applaud. Not only was it a kind of a big celebrity collaboration, but it entertained their audience. It motivated their players who was training to that song, and then their team has then gone and rewarded them by collaborating with somebody who they held in such high regard. And then Little Nas is somebody that challenges and will continue to challenge stigmas every single day. And therefore, it's not just about this big, flashy collaboration. It's actually a really smart play. They've ticked so many boxes there, and they've done it all through the lens of an esport. So I think for me, hats off to them. I think that was incredible. We've done something on not such a big scale.
Tell us about that.
We needed to, we have a strategy in terms of where we're developing our audience, and it's kind of who is responding to our activation and our content. So Ireland was becoming an audience for us that we started to explore through a very natural story that happened through one of our FIFA programs, and a team called FinHarps, who are the worst team on FIFA, and actually we had a great segment around them in one of our shows. And then we started to build this relationship with them socially, started to talk to their community. Then we kind of started to understand that actually there was a really underserved market from a gaming perspective. So how could we tap into them, and also how could we help develop them from a gaming perspective? And we partnered with Finn Hearts. We're now on their front of shirt. So not only does that allow us to actually create quite fun and engaging FIFA content, but it also gives us the opportunity to then speak to the Irish audience from an academy standpoint. And that's another way of diversifying strategy for us at Guild. And we have an academy program that is a learning platform that allows basically kids who are or from 11 upwards, if you are interested in a game or you really love a game, we're just going to help you get better at it, is in a nutshell. So we're also able now to take that to the Irish community with our academy program, and one of those partnership rights is actually how do we then unearth the grassroots in Ireland too.
Yeah, and with the academy side of things, obviously you touched on it earlier with David, having a lot of roots within the academy system. How did that sort of conversation come about? Like, what made the decision? Was it purely that David had that experience of academies coming up? And where does it sit in terms of like your wider diversification strategy?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons why for us it felt right. David did have hundreds, I think, of esports approaches from different areas, and he never really felt like he had kind of found the right partner in order to, he didn't want to come into this space and it not feel authentic. And then we spoke to him and we had our academy proposition, and it was something that he aligned to straight away. And I think for us, validation of our program is his two sons are big gamers. And actually he kind of put us through the process and quite testing with his sons in and out the platform itself. So actually, we felt like if he felt that his kids had a trusted place to train and in a moderated environment, then actually that was validation for us. But also with David comes a lot of, it helps us diversify in terms of the merchandise ranges that we create. So he has an awesome team in addition to himself that have incredible experience with some really high-end fashion brands that is really helping us to create what our apparel strategy is. He also likes to wear it, which is always great for us. You know, it kind of is an added bonus of when he's wearing some of our apparel range as well. But then also it's helping us kind of, again, garner the trust. He is a trusted icon and he's a global icon. And that's really important when we're creating this grassroots approach with our academy program, is we need to garner the trust of parents. So in our program, we have two audiences that we will talk to. We will talk to students, and there is content that's created especially for them. But then we'll also talk to the parents in a parent center. So there's a authentication program there. We also provide weekly and monthly reporting on progression of their kids' development. But then we also need to make it fun. So we've got some parent tournaments. We're also working with some entities in terms of some mums platforms that was probably traditionally a bit anti of this space, and saying to them, okay, well, let's work together. You can test our platform. You can have different mumathons, mum influencers, all across our platform, and really understanding what the program is with their kids to understand how that's going to help better them. And the idea is that we get a verification from this platform. I can't say it yet because it's just not been, it's not gone through the process yet. But when parents are then kind of a little bit nervous about maybe their kids spending too long online, we can say it's okay in a balanced way and a positive environment. Actually, there's a lot of benefits from this. So we need David in that respect to also garner the trust of that audience. So it's kind of, for us, it was kind of stars aligning really to fit with our business model.
Yeah, and it all ties back in, doesn't it? If you've got that strategy of educating the parents at the same time, then again, you're helping to educate some decision makers around the wider fact that, you know, esports and gaming is something that can be really positive, particularly from a social point of view for kids. So, yeah, pretty amazing.
Absolutely, and I think also, you know, for us, you're right, decision makers that we are talking to, if we are if they know that we are with him, they kind of feel there's a lot more comfort coming from them in terms of a trusted brand that they're going to work with as well. So that's really important. And look, you know, I'm not saying that all of the deals come across the line because of him, but he certainly helps to open those doors for us as well at the same time. So again, there's multiple ways that maybe externally the wider audience don't see how he integrated he is in our business, but for us, yeah, it's kind of really, really important to our strategy, especially with the diversification away from main esports.
And obviously, diversity is a big issue for all esports teams and all esports organizations at the moment. I assume that that's sort of a core part of how Guild are diversifying in general, is also diversifying their core team and the people that are engaging with the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, what we recognize is that, again, sorry to keep bringing it back to our academy, but we needed to create role models. There needs to be role models for young people to aspire to be. So whether that's our players, so they need to have role models that they can relate to. And we have now an all-women Valorant team who was signed just a couple of weeks ago. We're working with some brand ambassadors within our academy space as well. So coming from different backgrounds with different maybe disabilities, to make sure that if you come into our platform, you can actually see, oh, there's somebody like me who I want to aspire to be, and therefore I feel like I'm included, and it's an inclusive space. It's also a moderated environment as well, which really, really helps in terms of stripping away some of the negativity. And the diversification of the talent that we have really helps us create that content to make sure that we have something for everybody within our space.
That's great. I mean, it's so important for leaders within the industry to make sure that that's happening. So I applaud you for that.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else from your point of view that you wanted to touch on around?
I think you know, when we talk about diversification into a lifestyle brand, I think for us, let's not shy away from the fact is we're still here to win in esports, and everything that we are doing will be to support the teams and how they compete. And as we know, that can be a very expensive operational costs, etc. So we need to make sure that we are building a fandom that if the chips are down, they're going to get behind the teams as well and support them. But we're also building content that our fans can engage with. But it's all really to support what we're doing from an esports perspective. That's our biggest priority. And all the diversification into lifestyle brands in the world won't get us away from that. That is the #1 priority at Guild. And I guess in most teams is to win.
That's great. I think that's it. I think we're out of questions. So
I guess
I don't know if are we doing a Q&A? Is there a Q&A or no? We're good.
No questions. That's good.
In which case, thank you very much, everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.